WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall. There on the wall. Under the pillow. Behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror. Somewhere there's a hole in the wall.
Welcome in. It's Olympic Friday. I'd love to say welcome to Paris, right above the River Seine, like the folks at NBC are doing. No, but I'm going to say welcome to the Flynn Broadcasting Center. And like most of you, I will be watching the opening ceremony on the river. First time we do not have an opening ceremony in a stadium. It'll be on the water. And I literally pray there are no incidents because the security for this is difficult. And already we have seen sabotage. This was at least nonviolent terrorism, but it did include arson. They have shut down the train system, those bullet trains, the lightning fast trains that go over 200 miles an hour, which I've been on. They're incredible. They have shut down that system throughout Paris and also outside of Paris for those Parisians who were trying to get the heck out of there before all of the tumult took place with the games and the opening ceremony. They can't. They're stuck. The train system shut down until Monday. There have already been threats by the Palestinians on the Israeli team and by Israeli tourists. Very scary. I know I believe the presence of police is 45,000, at least for the opening ceremonies, with an additional 10,000 French troops that will be in the area. But I do worry. I love the Olympic Games. I love the joy. I love the fact that it's so important to all of these great athletes who train for 4 years for their moment. But I do wonder, in this day and age, with all the wars that are going on and all the hate in the world, if we can get through without any major incidents, particularly to the poor Israeli delegation. And already, again, we have seen acts of terrorism, thank God, nonviolence, with the train system in Paris. Keep an eye on that. We say goodbye to Jeff Crane. I've left Jeff a message, and I mean this sincerely. I think Jeff is a terrific administrator. He's a guy that can relate to all kinds of people. I don't blame him for going to South Carolina. He had also an offer to go to Missouri with Laird Veach. Laird willing to take everybody he can from Memphis. And he's done a heck of a job of that. Ed Scott is going to have nobody here. I think Jeff's sticking around a little bit longer. But here's the thing. Jeff stayed and did not give his notice until after the most important aspect of what he was doing, the beginning of the reconstruction of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, which the school now owns. He waited to say he was leaving until after he got that going. He was the only guy that was still around, that knew all the details, that was working it. He could have left earlier. He decided to stay for that. What a gentleman he is. He is a definite loss to Ed Scott and to this university. But he was twice passed over when he wanted to be an AD. He's the second in command at South Carolina. I think he would have been the second in command at Missouri. But he's the second in command at a place he's already been. His family is familiar with Columbia, South Carolina. And so I don't blame him. I'm sure there's more money involved. Pretty sure the University of Memphis did ante up to try to keep him. But when you're passed over twice and you really want to become an AD at one point, maybe to get to the Power 5 as the second in command at South Carolina, probably with a little bit more money than even the university here offered after anteing up. I can't blame him. I can't blame him at all. But I will tell you what a gentleman he is and how much I personally will miss him. And I don't know how rocky the next few months are going to be as Ed Scott brings in his team and they try to figure out how to do all of this. But we'll see. I am really sorry, but in a way happy for Jeff Crane. In the meantime, crazy things still happen all over the place. And in particular, I'm going to tell you about what the NCAA is doing and what it might mean. Because it is wild. The NCAA is now going to up the ante on scholarships. So in football, they are going from 85 scholarships to 105 scholarships. Get more into that in a second. In basketball, they're adding 2 to 15. It used to be 15. The women have 15. Now the men are going to go from 13 to 15. Baseball, it's crazy. They're almost tripling it. They're going from 7 and change to 34. You heard me right. They're adding 22 and a third scholarships. From 7.3 to 34. Softball, they're adding 13. They're going to 25. Volleyball, they're adding 6. They're going to 18. So there are 67 Power 4 teams. So you think about this. They're upping all these scholarships at the time they got to share money. I don't know if this means it's the end of what the NIL is going to be. Are they going to legislate against NIL and just share the revenue? And they've added so many spots to make that seem more attractive or better? Or will we still have the two systems? I don't know. We'll get more clarity on that, I guess, as time goes on. But here, to me, is the sad part of all this. The 85 scholarship rule was put in so that other schools could get good players. This 67 times 20 is over 1,400 scholarships. Those 1,400 players would have been stars at the Group of 5 level. Instead, they won't be available. They'll end up going to the Power 4. Whether they play a lot or not remains to be seen. But the quality of athlete the Group of 4 can afford to go after means that athlete will not be coming to the Group of 5. 1,400 athletes in football that would have gone to a Group of 5 school will now be going to a Power 4 school. The separation between the power and the have-nots is getting deeper and deeper every week. There's no doubt about that. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio. We're going to be joined by Tim Doolin here momentarily. Andy Schiffman will join us at 10:25, and then we'll talk with Brian Thakis to end our week as usual at 10:45. So let's get a hold of Tim Doolin. And have we got him?
Yeah.
Okay, I do not see that on my screen. That's interesting. So you're going to have to put him on. I'll let everybody know we're in the Family Leisure Studios, and the summer sale party continues. I haven't had a chance to talk with Lindsay or with Billy in a while, but I can tell you, I think there's only a week left of this thing because, you know, today is July the 26th. In August, we should have something new. So if you want that 24-foot above-ground pool starting at $19.99, you better go there right now. If you want to get select patio furniture with all the new fabrics and designs, you got to go now because you get 50% off. If you want that 4-person hot tub, which is incredible, under $3,000, You better go now. I don't know how much longer the summer sale party is going to happen, but I got a feeling it's ending. So I get to I-40 and Wooden Road as quickly as I can. Go see them all. Tell them we sent you. Enjoy the savings at Family Leisure. Tim Doolin does join us, and we've got lots to talk about. Let's begin with all these new scholarship levels. I've just talked about it. And baseball is tripling. They're going from 7 1/3 to 34. It's crazy. Or 11.3, whatever it was. It's tripling.
11.7.
11.7. Tell me your thoughts on what the heck they are doing here. What do you think is the reason and the NCAA has decided to up the ante on scholarship levels?
Well, I think it's a long time coming for all of your minority sports, and spring sports specifically with baseball. It's been 11.7 for years, which has been a huge challenge, and a lot of people from the likes of Ron Polk have been on this for years about not all baseball programs are revenue producers, but when you look at the likes of the SEC, when they're generating millions of dollars for the university and for the NCAA, and they were strapped with 11.7 for years, I think it's good. But at the end of the day, whether you call it 100% scholarship or a full ride or NIL, it's the same thing. I'm dealing with a lot of the Power Four schools every day with kids that we've had that I represent in the portal, as well as kids that are getting ready to be recruited and offered as soon as August the 1st of this year for rising juniors. And so I think it's a move that the NCAA is making to try to at least show some goodwill. But at the end of the day, you're still dealing with lots of money with the Power Fours for sure, in NIL money. You've got the likes of kids that were in the portal last year that are getting upwards of $800,000-$900,000 to stay at a school or to go to another school for 1 year. It's crazy. And so, is the full scholarship relative to that kid? No, not at all. And to your point earlier you made in the show about whether the NCAA is going to try to get their hands around the dollar figures that are allowed to be given NIL in the NIL going forward. It's going to be back to where we were 20 years ago when the boosters were paying it illegally. So I don't think we're going to stop this. I really don't.
Well, here's the thing. If you think about it, baseball had limitless scholarships, right? They did. They had They had 11.7, right? But
yep.
they could take anybody, call them a walk-on, and pay them. So here's my question. Now you got 34, right? They're all scholarship players. Maybe they get NIL money too. I don't know. But that means that maybe there's no more walk-ons. You had 85 football players, and you used to have, 15 or 20 walk-ons. I think it was pretty well unlimited. Now maybe it's 105. That's all you can have. And you'll still get NIL money, and they'll just try to figure out at least the worst guy on the team knows he's going to get some revenue from the sharing, whether he gets NIL or not. But it's 105 total. Let's look at the others. You got basketballs going to 15. Well, maybe there'll be no more walk-ons. So you'll pay 15 scholarships, and the better players will get more money from the NIL. Same with softball and volleyball that are upping the. I mean, softball's going up 13. You can't tell me that that's just going to be the limit. You can't have walk-ons after. That's what I'm guessing this all means.
You're spot on there, but I think the bigger concern and the bigger problem you're creating is, and my sentiment is, these are all those things that we're discussing. They're fine. I don't have a problem with that. The problem you have is allowing a player, and I don't know if you're going to be able to stop this, allowing a player in any sport to transfer and be immediately eligible. Basically, he's a free agent every year. That is you're going to have thousands of players in baseball alone that'll be in the portal next year. Okay? Now, where are they going to go? And so it's crushing the mid-majors because if you're a University of Memphis or Middle Tennessee State or a mid-major, you sign a player, he wasn't ready to pitch, let's say, in the Power Four. He wasn't developed, he wasn't physical, his velocity wasn't what it needed to be. He goes in and said coach and strength coach at a University of Memphis develops this player. He is leaving.
Right.
He's going to the Power Four. He's going to get paid. He's going to get the full ride. And so how are mid-majors going to be able to compete? So in my opinion, they need to change the transfer rule. And I'm okay to begin with to say a player can transfer and be immediately eligible one time. If he transfers again, he has to sit out a year. That will stop that because the player's not going to sit out and waste a year having to sit out. That's the bigger problem.
Well, the other aspect is here's the other thing to that, though. With 34, you're going to have 34 on your roster now, right? You're paying 34 guys. Is there going to be a roster spot, right? You got to move a guy. I don't think. There's the other thing: is can you cut a guy? Does he lose his scholarship if you see another guy?
Well, you don't have to.
Better?
You don't have to necessarily cut him. You bring him in the office and say, look, probably be a good idea if you went somewhere else because you're not going to play next year. Or the kid's not going to stay and say, well, even though my scholarship is for 4 years or whatever, the kid's not going to stay and sit the bench. He's going to go somewhere where he can play. That's how they get around that, and they've done that for years. So, again, the problem is this, is when you're going to have this much turnover every year, players are going to leave, go to a better situation, get paid. Players are going to leave because they went out and got a player in the portal that is better than you. So the high school player, and specifically in baseball, the Power Four are signing, because I'm talking to these guys on a daily basis, they're going to maybe sign 4 or 5 high school players, whereas in the past, they were signing 16, 17 guys.
Right.
Now, the 4 or 5 guys that they're going to commit out of high school, 3 of the 5 are guys that they don't think are going to be able to get to campus because of the Major League Baseball draft. The problem you're having is it's going to be a constant revolving door of players. So if you're a high school player, you better do your due diligence to find out what philosophy does said Power 4 school have on are you going to develop this player and stick with him, which is probably the answer is no, because you have to win now because you're getting paid $1 million to get to Omaha. It's a constant quagmire that the NCAA created years ago by monopolizing the industry.
Well, I still think, and I hear you, and I would be all for a one-time transfer rule because I think that would actually help the sport. Let me interrupt you on that because I do think the only thing that say if you transfer the second time you have to sit out a year, I think that's fair. Oh yeah,
I'm okay
with that. I'm okay with that.
If you transferred one time and went to said school, and said school's coach leaves after that year to go to take a better job, I think the player should be able to leave there because ultimately he went there to play for that coach. So I think that would be okay.
So
wait. They're going to have to get their hands
What if you
around it.
transferred once and the same thing occurred, and you want to go with the coach? What's your take on that one?
I think you should be able to do that. If you went to play for that coach, and typically that's why you're going to transfer or to play, yeah, the money's going to be relevant, but you should be able to leave if that coach leaves. I don't want to stay there and be a player because guess what's going to happen? Look what Schlossnagle did. He leaves Texas A&M. He convinced Texas's AD that I'm bringing all these guys with me.
Right.
Well, guess what? Texas A&M said, we got more money and we're going to keep these guys. Well, Schlossnagle was rumored to be recruiting players from the portal while he was coaching at A&M in the College World Series.
Well, let's face it, this guy, he's the one that went after the guy for asking him about leaving and then left within 20 hours. So this guy,
but
I don't think he's a real moral, upfront, ethical kind of a guy.
Well, but look, a lot of these guys aren't real upfront, moral, and ethical guys. It's business. So players in college need to understand the coaches do not care about the player. They care about producing and getting to the College World
Yeah.
Series. So basically, we talked about this on and off the air, Wolo,
Yeah.
is your favorite college team is now your favorite professional team. That's what it is.
No doubt. All right,
That's
you mentioned
exactly what it is.
You mentioned where it's been paid for a long time. MLB, they had a draft. Who won? Who lost?
Well, I think the biggest winner was probably the Colorado Rockies signing Charlie Condon, who, although he dropped to the third player taken, he got paid more than any of the players that were drafted in front of him. Colorado needs an impact bat. They need to put butts in seats, and this guy is probably the best college hitter coming out of the draft since Bob Horner, who went straight to the major league.
Is he as impactful as the pitcher with the Pirates?
It's hard to say that. Well, I would say no, just because he's playing every day. He's gonna have a learning curve. Whereas you got a guy like Paul Skeens, who obviously you see what he's done in a short period of time.
Yeah.
You got a guy throwing 100 miles an hour. His average pitches are 98 to 100. He's able to locate secondary pitches, and he's polished. And so I don't think we're going to see a guy impact the draft like Paul Skeens in a long time in the future, and we haven't seen that happen in several years, in the past. So I will see. I got a chance to see Charlie Condon a lot this past year in person, and I played with some really good hitters: Barry Bonds, Rafael Palmeiro, and this guy's unbelievable. He doesn't waste at bats. He never gets out of his game. He's super athletic. He can play. He played, I think, 4 or 5 positions at Georgia, and so he's got a slow clock and doesn't really let the game speed up on him.
Obviously, a terrific bunch, and baseball doesn't have quite the drama of some of the other drafts, but certainly it is interesting to see and how much quicker they go from the minor leagues, if they get there, to the major leagues. Like Skeens was there for what, third of a year?
Yeah, third of the year. I think what you're seeing is, and I think like 65% of the guys getting to the big leagues are coming, from college. A lot of those kids are coming from the SEC. So what you're basically seeing, and I know we've mentioned this early during the season, is the major league teams, when they reduced the number of minor league teams they had, said, you know what, it'd be real smart for us just let the Power 5 and the SEC schools be our minor leagues. And it's worked out pretty well for Major League Baseball and for the SEC.
Sure has.
So it's a great conference. It's a great league. It's a very difficult league. And so the challenge you're having with high school guys going to the SEC that are turning down a lot of money to forego college, they're not playing as freshmen because they're not ready, especially in that league.
Have a great week, my friend, and we'll pick this right up and maybe talk some Major League Baseball next Friday.
You too. Thanks, Wolo.
That's Tim Doolin, our man on baseball, and in particular college baseball and all these new scholarship levels. Very interesting indeed. He's brought to you in part by the Eflin Insurance Team. My God, Tim was a great Tiger baseball player. Matt Eflin is a great Tiger supporter. He's got GUR in his phone number. Loves the Tigers and loves to talk to you. When he does insurance, it's all about getting to know you, to collaborate with you, to find the perfect protection. It's that simple. He's going to know you, your family, what's really important to you, sort of looks to the future and finds, whatever your budget is, the perfect protection for your home, your car, your future with life insurance. Works the same way with commercial insurance. If you got a small to mid-sized business, he's going to know you, your employees, your product, forecast you out a little bit, figure out your budget, and find the perfect commercial insurance protection. It's all collaborative. It's done so beautifully. He's helped so many people over the years. It's the Eflin Insurance Team. We pause for just a second. When we return to Chicago, we talk NBA with our agent, Andy Schiffman. He's next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, this is Jay Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home. With Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of the store.
Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jay Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home. With Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of the store.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
It's the season for fun, sun, and savings at the Volkswagen Savvy Summer Sales Event. Going on now at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, and I've got Jason, the main man Marshall, on the phone to give you the lowdown.
Randy, I've got the 2024 Taos SE, $299 a month, 36 miles per gallon on the highway. 2024 Atlas Peak Editions, $5,000 off or just 0.9% APR for 60 months. And the new 2024 Tiguan's, $3,000 off or just 1.9% APR for 60 months. And the list of savings goes on and on at Gossett Volkswagen on Covenant Pike. And remember, no reasonable offer will be refused.
Summer fun has begun. Ask for Jason, the main man Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike, or online at GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
Back to Wolo and friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
Weekend's almost here. I know you got to stock up. Maybe you got parties. Maybe you're watching the Olympics. You got to go see my friend Eddie Connor. That's the Spirit Shop, Poplar in St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, Little Log Cabin right down from Clark Tower. You've passed by a million times, been there since '69. My goodness. He's been supplying Memphis with spirits that long, and he knows. He's got a great mind. He'll educate you, too. If you ask about a product, say a rare bourbon, he knows. If you want to find about, say, an up-and-coming wine that you might love and you might want to save, wow, he's got the knowledge of all the up-and-comers. He's the first one that ever told me about cornerstone, that Memphis group that put together that thing, and it's now a lot per bottle, I can tell you that. If you want any kind of accessories, all the local beers, they've got it all right there at the Spirit Shop. Time to load up. Go see Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop. Let's go to Chicago. Let's chat with our good friend, Andy Schiffman, the agent from Priority Sports. Andy, is Summer League a good forecaster for how good players might be? Good morning.
Good morning, Dave. I think it is a good forecaster if you go out there and you play well. I think it's encouraging. I think it's positive. If you go out to Summer League and you don't play well, that has zero indication of the sort of pro you will be. One player, obviously, on the Grizzlies, here's an example, Santi Aldama, his very first Summer League game a few summers ago, looked like he didn't even belong in the NBA because he flew over from Spain 24 hours before and was thrown into the mix. And I remember looking on social media and just fans were just bashing the pick that the Grizzlies used a first-round pick on a guy like that. And obviously now he's become a rotational player for the Grizzlies. So I think it is more so than anything a good barometer for the player just to, give that player some reassurance that, hey, I belong here. I understand the system. I understand the setup. But it's not NBA caliber basketball. You're out there. It's run and gun, glorified pickup basketball. There's very little structure. They don't really care about winning. Everyone is out there just to prove a point. I was out there last week myself watching these games, and I've had players on a number of teams, some free agents, some rookies, and younger players. And it's very frustrating to watch unless you're just this ball-dominant guard, because if you're not, you're playing with a ball-dominant guard, and all those sorts of players just like to go out there and prove they can do this, and they can score, and they can break people down off the dribble, and there's just a lot of ball watching around those guys going on. So it's a really tough gauge to map out and extrapolate out the sort of professional that player will be, but it is encouraging if you have a good summer league and you can use that as momentum going into training camp.
I clearly believe that if there was any doubt after the end of last year, Scottie Pippen is a backup point guard minimum in the NBA from his performance. I thought he was the best player in all of summer league. And he didn't get MVP. He got all first team, but he clearly showed me that he's the guy. He can make it. He needs a standard contract.
Yeah, I liked him last year when the Grizzlies played him and gave him a lot of opportunity. He was the beneficiary, obviously, of all the injuries that the Grizzlies had. And again, for that role on that team, Dave, I think he does his job exceptionally well. Go out there. Your main prerogative is to get players around you the ball, find them when they're in the right spots to put them in scoring position. And then when you do have the ability to turn on the jets and get into the paint and score, do it. But they're not signing Scottie Pippen Jr. They're not paying him to go out there and put up 20 points a game. That's not his role on an NBA team. It's not his role in the Grizzlies. And so I think when you're a young player and you can understand that, that's how you climb the ladder, let's say, just like Scottie's done on two-way on hopefully a regular season spot here. We'll see what happens as the season progresses. Yeah. But that's how it's done, staying within yourself.
And I guess I'm not sure what happens with a guy like Derrick Rose, who's clearly the backup now, but he can't be healthy. And
I don't think they'll keep him long term. I think you've got two players on two ways that are going to be on the Grizzlies roster at some point this year. I think you're going to see Scottie Pippen at some point be elevated, and I think our guy Cam Spencer, who had a really good summer league for the Grizzlies out of UConn, I think he will find a way to be converted to a regular season contract with the Grizzlies somehow this season.
So you have Spencer and you have Zach Edey. Let's talk about both of them with their injuries. You can start with Spencer since you brought him up, and then the big prize. The sample size was small, but I do think it was telling in the very short period of time, his production, particularly in the game in Utah when he went up against a 3-year player and played well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, both guys, they're healthy now. For precautionary reasons, both Zach and Cam were held out of summer league games here and there. Obviously, Zach played in Vegas towards the back end just to get some reps. They held Cam out And Cam was very frustrated because he's such a competitive guy. He wanted to go play. I mean, he could go out there and play on one leg if you gave him the option. So yeah, injuries, nothing to be overly concerned about. And I was very encouraged by what I saw from both guys, especially from Cam, because Cam went through the NBA Combine process and he played live. He played 5-on-5 at the Combine, and I don't think that was his best outing. I think he, for lack of a better term, I do think he struggled a little bit in that setting. And so then to see him be able to play 5-on-5 again in a summer league setting, which is just as, if not even more chaotic than the NBA 5-on-5 at the Combine, and see him play well, I think was very encouraging. I think the more reps he has, I think that will help him. I think you'll expect to see Cam play a ton in the G League, which is going to help him tremendously. So I'm excited to see what Cam will do this season. I think Grizzlies fans are going to love him. As I said, he's probably one of the most competitive people I've ever come across, and I think that comes out in his game. And the guy just wants to win. He's not going out there to put up numbers. He could care less about that. He just wants to do anything possible to help a team win. He's got winning in his DNA coming from UConn, so I think that will carry over to the Grizzlies. And it'll be exciting to watch his maturation, evolution as an NBA player. And Zach, like I said it all along, right? Like the guy is going to be a stud, and I think he's a great fit for the Grizzlies. Obviously, you know, my thoughts, like I was a bit surprised when the Grizzlies took him at 9, but I also knew among teams that had interest in Zach, the Grizzlies were probably one of the most interested teams for the longest time during the pre-draft process. They would probably have drafted Zach last year had he not returned to Purdue. And at that point, he definitely wouldn't have been a top 10 pick either. So he really helped himself tremendously. Yeah. And I think that he's just ready to step in and play at the NBA level. I think you can see that from day one. And maybe he doesn't have as high of a ceiling as some of these other younger players in the draft. But in terms of productivity, you can see from a rookie and this year in the NBA, I think Zach is at the top of that list. I think, and I know a lot of outlets and pundits and critics and writers around the NBA and the media kind of pencil in Zach for maybe rookie of the year. I don't think that is unjustified. I think, again, you talk about who could be the most productive rookie this year. Again, take the upside and the flashiness out of it. Yeah, Ricochet with the Hawks is going to be a really good player. I know Sarr struggled a bit in summer league here and there. He's going to be a very good player. Reed Shepherd, tremendous summer league. I think he also could kind of vie for a rookie of the year merit with the Rockets this year. But I think Zach is right there just because he's ready to step in and contribute versus some of these younger players that you really have to develop more, teach more. Zach, I think there's very little involved with Zach in terms of having him kind of get caught up to the NBA game. I think the guy's ready.
Psychologically, he only played about 30 minutes. Confidence is so important. What do you think he got out of this short sample size of Summer League?
Well, you know, he played obviously a bit when the Grizzlies were playing with Utah as well. And he played, look, this is not, here's the difference between Zach, right? He's not a rookie who has only 1 year of college basketball under his belt. He has played for the Canadian national team. He has played, obviously, multiple years, 2-time All-American at Purdue, making it to the national championship game, playing in the postseason for multiple seasons. So I don't look at that to say, well, he just didn't get enough reps, maybe he didn't play much, because he's played a ton over the last 4 years, as you well know. And so, again, I just think Zach is one of the most confident players you'll ever meet. And he's kind of said all along, like, you know, when people ask him, where do you want to go? He's like, honestly, I don't care where I go in the NBA. I just want to go where a team wants me, where they can value what I bring to the table. I know what I can do. I know what I can bring to a team. And I want a team to be that excited about me. And so where I want to go is to a team that it feels that way about me and is going to utilize me as I should be utilized. And I think we have that with the Grizzlies. So I think it just adds to his confidence, his ability to go out there and produce like he did in Summer League. I think more than anything, it just gives him a feel of some of the younger guys he could be playing with out there, whether it's Scottie Pippen, Gigi Jackson, what have you. Obviously get a feel for the Grizzlies system. I think those three things were really valuable for Zach in Summer League, for sure.
Let me switch since you talked national team. Steve Kerr is also a Priority Sports client, and the United States Olympic team has won every game in the Olympic pre-trials that are exhibition games. They haven't looked very good. They were a 43-point favorite against South Sudan, and it took a LeBron escape to win that. Same thing with Germany. They didn't play so good against Germany, beat them by
Right.
only 4. It took the 39-year-old to bail them out again. What's the problem with the U.S. Olympic team? Are they going to win gold?
I do think they're going to win gold, and you look at these first few games they have. I guess it's the group phase in Serbia. Serbia, obviously, they already played back about a week ago or so in those friendly games. And it's funny, like Serbia is relatively a basketball powerhouse with Jokic in terms of the national level.
Right.
And I think that was U.S.'s best win, maybe that in Canada. So I think that would be a more competitive game than what we saw. But I do think the U.S. will win gold. I think they're too deep. I think they're very well balanced. Obviously, LeBron played great, but you need to have consistent productivity from guys like Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Halliburton. You've had some good moments from Embiid and Adebayo, but I think you can get that. So when you look at the rest of the field, I know their first few games in the group phase, Serbia, South Sudan again. I don't expect that to be another one-point game.
Yeah.
South Sudan has some guys that definitely had a cup of coffee in the NBA, Carlick Jones, Mario Shayok. But again, it's not LeBron James. That's not Steph Curry.
And here's the difference, too, honestly. The dream team that we all talk about, first Olympic team that was professionals in 92, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many foreign NBA players played in those Olympic games?
You can probably count them on one hand.
7. It was 7.
Yeah.
And now, Serbia, Joker.
Every team's got him.
Joker is the main guy. So
Yep.
it is different. They're not
And
exactly.
I think, too, the other thing you'll see, too, not to cut you off, is you see a lot of these other teams now find a way to naturalize players maybe who were not born in that region, but they have familial ties so they can go out there and get a passport. And I think that it's something that really wasn't done as much years ago.
Right. It's different, that is for sure. They haven't really played that well together yet. Maybe they will turn it around and make this great run because we are supposed to be the best in the world at this sport. So let's hope that is the case. Andy, we'll talk more about this and a whole lot more next Friday. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Dave. You too.
That's our agent in Chicago. From Priority Sports, that is Andy Schiffen, brought to you in part by Miramichi. If there's ever a place that I miss as I recuperate from shoulder surgery, it is Miramichi. My friends are going to go play. They're going to enjoy that back nine. They're going to enjoy the walk through the woods and the hills and the waterfall and the stream that seems to be omnipresent. Yeah, they're going to love it. I may just have to go walk the course with them. I don't know what else to do. But I can tell you this, when I make my rehab, I'll be rehabbing my game there too. They have the best practice facilities there are of any public course. Go see Miramichi. It's not far. 12 minutes north of downtown, 22 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. Miramichi, the total golf experience. We take a break. When we come back, we end our week always with Brian Takis. We'll chat with him about the new scholarship levels and a whole lot more. Jeff Crane's departure. It's Brian Takis who comes your way in a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
For retro cruiser styling packed with modern innovations, riders of all skill levels choose a Honda Rebel. Incredible motorcycles with a stripped-down style and a full package of features. Both the 300 and the 500 offer compact power inside a lightweight frame. Combined with a low slim seat, the Rebel is easy to start on. And with new colors for this year, they are impossible to ignore. Go to Desato Honda to check out the 2023 Honda Rebels. Cruisers with premium style and performance to enjoy every second. Use the street as a racetrack with the law and the owners. East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store with 20 employees along with complete inventory of items. They deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and River Grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass, cut up, repair screens, and your keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Wilson White Station.
So the word came down today. The NCAA is up in football by 20 scholarships, up in basketball by 2 to the original. They used to have 15. Baseball tripling to 34. Softball's going up 13. Volleyball's going up 6. I wonder if they're doing away with walk-ons. I'm not sure. I know this much. 1,400 athletes that would have been coming to Group of 5 will now be going to Power 4.
Yeah.
That really, really hurts. We don't know what the correlation with NIL, what this is, if there's going to be walk-ons, if this means that's your roster limit. It'll be interesting to see all of this.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out over the next couple of years and how teams use. I know now partial scholarships will be allowed in sports like football that haven't been in the past, and so it's going to be interesting to see how teams use it. Like you said, with more scholarships means more players going, that would be going to Group of 5, going to the Power 4. And I know, John Calipari kind of made some headlines by saying, even way before this happened, that he wanted about 8 true scholarship guys, and then the rest were going to be kind of developmental players that weren't probably going to see a lot of playing time, but he would have them in their system and kind of get them ready when they got older. And so when you think about that from a football standpoint and some of these other sports, it's going to be really interesting to see how these coaches start recruiting, and obviously you'll have a group when you're thinking about these Power 4 teams, you'll have that group of 5 stars and 4 stars that are going to get full scholarships and everything like that, but you're also going to have some guys that you want to bring in as more developmental guys that you maybe give partial scholarships to, or
well, now they'll get a full scholarship.
Yeah.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think that means you're doing away with walk-ons.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
So your roster is going to be 15. That's it.
Yeah.
You're going to pay every one of them because they're going to get a percentage of the revenue, and then the real stars will probably get NIL money.
Yeah.
That seems to me the way this will work, but I don't know. We'll have to see how they incorporate NIL. I don't think they can take that away. It's like the old thing, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't change it. We'll see. But this clearly, 34 baseball players, that's your roster. You're not going to have walk-ons.
No.
And the NIL will go to the better players. Now we'll see what they do with transfer rules, too.
Yeah.
Now that you're going to have this. These numbers would mean you're committed to that roster spot. There's less.
That's right.
I think less flexibility. I don't know.
Sure.
It'll be.
There's just so much new in college athletics right now. It's crazy.
It makes you scratch your head because you don't know. Every day there's a new change, and what is coming next. I know the loss of Jeff Crane was tough. I said this to begin the show, and I will repeat it. Jeff Crane is a gentleman. He could have left immediately. As soon as Ed Scott was announced, he could have gone. He had options. He had Missouri, and he had South Carolina. He went to South Carolina where there was some familiarity. That's where he came from.
Sure.
He's the second guy in command as the deputy AD there. I can't blame him. I appreciate that he stuck around because he was the only liaison between the university and this construction deal with what's going on at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. He could have just upped and left, and he didn't. He stuck around. I think the school tried to up the money on him, but let's be honest, he was bypassed twice for this position. He wants to be an AD, and maybe that AD position will be a better springboard for that to occur by going to South Carolina. I only wish him the best.
Absolutely.
I think he was all class, but it hurts.
No, you're absolutely right, and it's a great point you make of, this is a guy, and you got to think about it not just with, athletic departments, but any job out there. If you're up for a promotion and you get passed up by someone else, it's very easy to say, okay, I'm done, I'm going somewhere else. But obviously there was going to be this time where before Ed Scott officially took over and he was already the interim athletic director, and so, very easily could have said, okay, you're hiring this guy, I'm going, I'm either going to go to Missouri, go to South Carolina, and I'm done. But obviously, and I know Zach has had it up there on the desktop the last couple of days.
Yes.
The construction already.
Zach, by the
on.
way, is the official Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
Yeah, we got him out there on site.
Update reporter.
Giving updates.
It's just fascinating.
It really is. It's cool to see. And the way that the live stream where you can easily go back and kind of see the progress. But
so, it's interesting that what they've done is they did the north side first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're eating away at that all the way down to the top 25 rows, right?
Yep.
And now they're starting on the left side of the press box. So I guess they'll eat all the way down on that before they tackle that press box, because that's the biggest deal, right?
That's what it looks like. But, Jeff Crane was such a big part of this deal, and I know he was there Monday when some media members were there to kind of see the start of the construction. And
I'm told there's a sponsor thing on Monday that I'm emceeing.
Oh, wow.
And that he might even be there.
Wow.
I don't know if he's going to speak now.
Yeah.
But he might even be there. I mean, that's the kind of guy
that's incredible.
he is.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I don't want that to get lost, because I think it's very easy to say, oh, of course he's going to, someone's going to the SEC. But, to be able to stay in and do such a great job and be such a class act, I wish nothing but the best for him. And like you said, I think this is a great opportunity for him at South Carolina, where he knows a lot of people, very familiar with that program. So, I definitely appreciate what he's done, and hopefully look forward to big things from him in the future.
Media Days in Dallas earlier this week.
Yeah.
No huge surprise because of all the prognostication of experts in different magazines and websites. But the Tigers were clearly number one in the poll, 23 out of 30 first-place votes for the U of M. Are they worthy?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think with what they've got coming back, and, I think what – not just, we here locally, but nationally, what people have said, the expectations for them, I think, are very high. But, I think all the talk this summer has been great. It's been fun. I think, like you said, you expected to see that on Monday. But even still seeing it, or I guess Tuesday was when it was released, just seeing Memphis at number one with that many first place votes, it was kind of cool to see, because it's been a really long time, if ever. I can't remember in my lifetime the Tigers have been picked number one in a preseason football ranking. So,
first time in this league in 11 years.
And so it's
but
it's
you
incredible.
realize that out of those 11 years, only 4 of the preseason number one picks won the championship.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hopefully you can buck that trend if you're the Tigers.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I was a little surprised, and Brett and I have been talking about this a couple times this week, but I was a little surprised UTSA came in at second. I thought it would probably be Tulane.
I did too.
I know they're replacing a lot, but
you lost one of the best quarterbacks in your history.
Yep.
And you lost your head coach.
Yeah.
That's why they slipped to third.
For sure. But I think with what they've got coming in at both head coach and quarterback, I feel like they're a much bigger test than UTSA will be. But no, definitely some good things. I know there's a story over at the Daily Memphian right now about Seth Hennigan and kind of how his decision to come back, and it was not a very easy decision for him, and that schools, as he said, there's a quote in there, schools all over the country were giving him calls and hitting him up, trying to get him to enter the transfer portal and go somewhere else. So it was definitely a busy offseason, but definitely huge to get him back.
And you kind of wonder, is a guy like Seth Hennigan going to be a guy you can't get when they go with 20 more scholarships?
That's a good question.
But let me just remind you of this. And we're all thinking this through as it goes, as it happens. There's 67 Power 4 schools.
Right.
That means there's 67 starting quarterbacks.
That's right. Yeah.
So that means there's 2 or 3 on each team that aren't playing.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I still think, even with this, other positions, because there's 5 linemen, there's 3 or 4 linebackers. That's a little different, and there's rotation of those where you're not getting rotation of a quarterback. So I still think those 67 are going to be really good.
Sure.
But if you're a group of 5, you're going to be able to sway a kid like Hennigan and go, well, why do you want to sit back and wait? And look what we do with kids. We let them play right away.
Exactly.
Hennigan's get started as a freshman.
Sure. Yeah, and I still think you'll see that, especially at the quarterback position, like you said. But that's a tale as old as time, Dave, of guys that aren't playing and are a little disgruntled and want to go somewhere else. And obviously, Memphis has put themselves in an unbelievable spot to go out and tell those guys, look, we're in a position where we can compete for a spot at the college football playoff. We look what we've done with other guys, and you have that continuity of a coaching staff. So I really like where the Tigers are at football wise in a lot of different aspects.
And the new quarterback, the heir apparent,
that's right,
that signed the 4-star from Georgia. He signed an NIL
How about
deal.
that? Yeah, with a trading card company
for like what, $750,000? Is that what I read?
It was something like that. I have it on my phone somewhere.
So that doesn't even include
the
NIL money that FedEx has put up.
No.
So what is
just this one?
Is this kid gonna make $1 million?
Yeah, he's definitely gonna get close to it. Yeah.
Wow.
This one over.
Wow.
I guess earlier this week.
Can broadcasters take out loans from the student athletes?
It's a good question, Dave. You definitely got to get on his right side when he gets to campus.
It used to be you had to worry you couldn't give you couldn't buy
That's right.
a player lunch or something that you felt for. You got to know a little bit.
I think
now, what's the deal if you say, hey, you buy me lunch?
Yeah, so here's what it was. Leaf Trading Card Company, in between $600,000 and $750,000 for Antoine Hill. And I looked at it, it's one of these alternate trading card companies. They've got several current collegiate quarterbacks. They've got a couple of the prospects in there. I think Carson Beck has a deal with this group as well. So, and I think it sounds like they're maybe based in Georgia, and maybe that's how he got in there.
Wow,
sure. So, but great opportunity for him. Good for him.
The kid is what? 18? Not even. Is he 18 now?
Yeah, he's 17 or 18. Maybe he just turned 18.
And by the time he gets on campus, he knows he's going to be making.
He probably just turned 17 because he's getting ready for his senior year of high school. So
isn't that incredible?
That's crazy.
That is amazing. I know you're a concert guy. You're going to Nashville.
That's right.
This week, but I know one of your favorite venues is Grind City.
Oh, I love it, Dave.
Tell me why you love the Grind City venue.
Oh, it's the space they have, the concert venue, the stage they're able to set up with all that space, and obviously I know you're going to talk about their great products, but that's what they're selling there. They're selling all of that. And I'll be honest, Dave, when I went, it was one of the first times I'd had it, and now I can't stop telling people about it. Every time I'm at Topgolf has them now, Poppy's Pills. So every time I go there, I got to get me a Poppy's Pills, and I tell all my buddies, like, got to check it out. And they all love it too.
That's their number one seller. The lager's pretty good too. The Thaddeus, then the Belga, if you like Blue Moon, it's a Belgian wheat ale. It's fantastic. And, of course, Tiger Tail's unique. It's the malt liquor. I'm going to tell you the other thing about that venue that I love. You get to see a view of the city. It's little like when you used to be at Mud Island. It is a fantastic setup. Grind City Brewing, a taste of Memphis and a new venue for concerts. You just can't beat that combination when you can walk 30 yards and buy the beer that you love. It's just incredible, Grind City. Thank you, Brian. We'll be listening to you from 3 to 6 on Sports Time. We'll be back on Monday. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great weekend, everybody.